Don't stop believing. Oh, yeah. Steve Perry's got nothing on me. Actually, he's got a lot on me because his voice is amazing. But anyhow, so welcome to the channel. All right. So today is going to be kind of like a belief intensive, okay? Because a lot of people are asking, okay, well, because most people know that manifestation, whatever area of the manifestation world that you come from, you recognize something, that you get what you believe, that your body of beliefs, and Neville calls this a state, right, is what manifests, okay? And so we're going to need to really understand the deep and the depth of what a belief is and how to build one. So this is more of like Build-A-Bear, but we're going to talk about build a belief, right? So building a belief, first and foremost, is understanding what a belief is, okay? So again, a belief is either a value or an interpretation. Catch this. Somebody maybe share that below. A belief or a value or an interpretation. Sorry, a belief is a value or interpretation of how you've experienced something that you keep repeating. Do you hear anything about truth there? Do you hear anything about lying or even misinformation? No. Why? Because lying, misinformation, and truth are all interpretations. Okay? Meaning, if I believe something and I call it a lie, well, then I've given it another value. If somebody else says, well, that's a lie or that's misinformation, that's their value system now imposed upon your belief system, right? And so, again, lies, truth, misinformation, especially in the world and predominantly in the world of manifestation, we have to understand these as only categories. Okay? And so even the biblical author, which again, when I say biblical, I'm not referring to a historical book. I'm referring to the book that really is a guidebook to the inner self, right? To source, to God, to the imagination, right? And so when we talk about beliefs and we start using categories, that's bringing in limitations, okay? So when you start categorically defining your experience and other things around you and the world around you and politics and religion and anger and hurt, okay, that just means you've now conditioned your belief system, which is part of your awareness, to say, this is where I want my focus to go. The world's this big, but I want to only focus here, right? So again, and let me just say it this way. Any belief you accept, whether you define it as good or bad, is a limiting belief. Okay? So that's very key to understand because I think people hear the word limiting belief and they automatically think negative. Okay? So anytime that you accept anything true about yourself, whether you're a billionaire or not, that's a way in which you are going to tell your brain, right, and the reticular activating system area of the brain to say, hey, this is important to me. I want you to focus on this. World's this big. You've just told it to focus on this, right? Is there anything wrong with that? No, as long as you're choosing those beliefs. Problem is, most of us don't or haven't, at least through practice and our own history and childhood, have chosen or have gotten to choose our beliefs, right? Because most of our childhood is developed by who? Not by ourselves, by our parents, right? Or by our lack of parents, or by an orphanage, or if you're at Orphan Annie, or whatever it is, right? You are now then taking these beliefs and trying to unpack them. And this is what this is about. Really, manifestation is really training you to learn how to unpack the beliefs that you don't want and to then repackage them into beliefs that you do want. And the reason why I say it that way is because beliefs are just another form of energy. And I like to say that they're just Play-Doh, right? And you get to mold and shape and take this little part away and add it, okay? And so what you're doing is you're building a belief. But again, remember, what's a belief? Come on, kids. It's an interpretation or a value that you keep repeating and that eventually you'll get dopamine for the more that your brain expects it from you. Okay, so beliefs are not who you are. Beliefs are what you accept about your experience of the world. Do you get that? Beliefs are not who you are. They are what you choose to accept about the world. Okay? And so that's very, very key and powerful to you for you to realize and accept. That means you can choose different ones, okay? So beliefs themselves, though, operate, and they tend to operate on two different levels, okay? And so we're going to unpack this because in the unpacking, we're going to end up with a tip and a strategy for you, all right? So there's what are called macro beliefs, and then there's the micro beliefs, okay? So the macro beliefs are your big beliefs about the world and your parents and other people, and fundamentally about how you think about the body. Like, for example, if you look at other people and you're like, oh, aging, and you know what, I see other people aging and they're aching and they're hurting. Okay, that's a macro belief. Okay, that's a belief about the world or belief about experience. So if you have a belief about any general experience that we call life, right? If you have a life belief about anything, that's a macro belief. That's important to recognize, okay? And yes, you get those from the world around you, predominantly not from yourself, okay? Macro beliefs tend to be the beliefs that are given to you by society, by advertisements, by books you read, by interactions you have. Those are macro beliefs. Okay. Micro beliefs now are the ones that you think are about you. Okay. You can call these ego beliefs. You can call them narcissistic beliefs. You can call them whatever you want. But these are beliefs that are solely about you and how you operate and be and love and experience and react to in the world. Right. So, micro beliefs are you, fundamentally, okay? Now, if you grew up and you allowed other people, as in the macro beliefs, to impact what you think about yourself, then that also can become a micro belief. Okay, so again, using the whole aging leading to pain thing, right? And then you grew up, let's say, with aging parents or whatever it is, right? Then you took that in and you ingested it because you reacted to it. Because, right, we manifest and we experience what we believe based on the reactions to what we believe, right? And so you need to fully be aware that the macro and the micro are not operating separately. Okay, they are operating together. So if you've had a strong belief about yourself, about any idea, okay, then what's going to happen is the macro is going to say you believe about this about the world, and then you believe about this about yourself. Oh, so those two beliefs work together really good. So we're going to actually create that as an experience in your reality. Okay. And so, well, what happens if you have like two opposite beliefs? Well, that just depends on your intensity, right? And that depends on your intensity of belief behind them. So if you believe like, okay, the world is generally unjust, but I'm a pretty lucky person, right? Well, what's going to tend to happen is you're going to have a mix of those beliefs, okay? And so this is how you form and understand beliefs, is that you actually use this as a model for you daily, by the way, to begin forming beliefs. So what I would encourage you to do is take a piece of paper, right, or a notepad or a note app, whatever it is, your friend's backpack or a white t-shirt worn by a stranger. It doesn't matter. I don't judge you. But like basically what you want to do, you want to write it down and put macro beliefs and then put micro beliefs. This is where you got to get honest though. Like where are you now about, let's say, a macro belief about money or about falling in love or about life in general, right? Or about adventure or about whatever it is, right? So you might be like, hey, I believe in adventure, right? But then the micro is, oh, I'm much older now, so I can't have it. Or, I believe in falling in love, but I've had too many lovers and nobody's going to really, really celebrate that about my life experience with that. Whatever it is, right? So what's going to happen again? All of those mixed match beliefs that where you have a different like micro to macro, you're going to have just a mix of those beliefs being true. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to create a solid belief system where the macro beliefs about life, beliefs about love, everything abstract really, right? And beauty and all of this kind of stuff. Like, hey, beauty's fun. Like, hey, adventure is amazing. Like, adventure means hiking for me, which it is for me, right? And so that's a great example. And then I personally have always loved being in the outdoors. I have great memories being in the outdoors. So for me, every time I go into the woods, I have a strong macro tied to that nature is beautiful and fun and adventurous to I want nature and feel like I'm in nature. So then I want to be a part of nature, right? And so that is how they work. So again, fundamentally, when you're building out these beliefs and these belief systems, you want to create beliefs that are mirroring each other. Okay. So that does mean that you might need to do some work where you're like, money is easy to get, but then you had some sort of limiting belief or something in your memory from your childhood, seeing your parents fight about it all the time, whatever it is, you're going to need to revise those beliefs. Okay. As if they never happened. And then what that's going to do though, is it's going to change you. So that's who it fundamentally changes. Revision and revising the past, right, is basically something that you yourself, okay, want to be actively molding and shaping, okay? So again, Macro beliefs, general beliefs about life and world and truth and beauty and religion and politics and all this kind of stuff. And then you have your own personal beliefs, your own personal belief system, which are also impacted by your own childhood awareness and beliefs and experiences. And those are the ones that you want to do the active work of deconstructing. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. There's actually more to this, and I'm hoping to do a live on this to give people actually even more practical examples. But much love to you all. Get in touch if you're looking for coaching. Thank you for your support, and I hope to talk to you soon.